There is danger in the incompleteness of digital communication. It's not enough bandwidth to really feel. I have, even right now I'm looking, looking at your face, which is superimposed onto a camera in Teratron, invented by Errol Morris. And that's how he got people to talk to the camera honestly, but we don't have those on our phones and computers yet. The camera is on top of the screen in a phone and a computer. So no one is actually looking into each other's eyes, and there's trouble because of that. Tweet wars means you can't see the expression on someone's face when they're saying something, which has complexity, and you take offense easier, and you give offense easier. And in fact, giving offense is proof of existence. So you have people screaming things that they don't necessarily always believe because they want to exist, because they're behind a screen, they're not in a group. A lot of it has to do with being present, physically present when you're dealing with a crisis. You don't text a breakup. You shouldn't. It's like there's too much to be misunderstood in words. My advice, in some ways we're in a better world than we've ever been in terms of like health and human rights at least being considered in different countries, and partly that's because of digital stuff. You can't actually shut down digital communication no matter how hard you try in China or wherever. There's VPNs, people get through. So there are advantages to that, but the way we get the information, 24-hour bombardment, makes people feel afraid. And you've got a lot of people who feel like dangerous shut-ins, who are railing against how sad things are or dropping out because they're overwhelmed. And because of that dropout and that polarization, you get a regime like Trump. You get a fertile ground for fascism, which is about blaming someone irrationally for other problems in your life. It's an old game that has been played for millennia. That immigrant, that transgender person, that person who is of a different race, their very existence threatens you because they're getting attention, money, they're stealing something from you. And that certainly happened, found its way to a World War II, but also the kind of fragile state of truth right now, which also comes out of digital addiction, is that all conspiracy theories are true, all news is suspect, facts are fungible, and in a world like that, that's the biggest danger, apart from climate change, and they are linked, God knows. Somebody's convinced themselves that it's a hoax because they make less money if it wasn't a hoax. Consider your conspiracy theories. You have a problem with them if you only believe the ones you want to. Since they're not really based on facts, you only believe what you want. You read the news you want to read. You ignore the ones you don't. Read the stuff you don't want to believe. Even consider the conspiracy theory you don't want to believe. Then you consider yourself a fair-minded nut. But think about it. Are you only believing conspiracy theories because you want them to be true? That's when you know there's trouble.